What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and yes, oh, it's a good day to be a Chelsea fan. Now I just hope we don't lose to Arsenal in the final. Because I tell you what, if there's one thing more annoying than a Man U fan, it's an Arsenal fan. Either of those two are really, really annoying. But yeah, for Arsenal, it's like, why are you even still talking? You have not done anything in the past several years. So just be quiet, go sit down in the Europa League, enjoy yourselves there, but please stop talking. Anyways, no, but honestly, much better game. I'm taking it with a grain of salt because if there's one thing that's been a problem for us recently, it's been our consistency. So even if, yeah, this was a fantastic game, we played really well, that could all change against Liverpool in a few days. So I'm coming at this as I'm excited. I'm glad we played well. I'll talk about all the great things we did, but also I've still got this hesitation to say we're back. We're definitely gonna win the next game. We're playing well finally, because there have been a couple times since the break that I thought, yes, we're back. We're finally playing well. Lampard's got it figured out, and then the next game just all of a sudden slip, and 3-0 to Sheffield. So. Anyways, with all that being said, though, first want to talk about the lineup. I like it. I like the fact that he is given a chance to some of these players that I feel like are good. They just don't always get a chance to show it. I think going with the back three makes Alonso look better. I think it makes Rudiger look better. I think James, the fact that we get him in there as well as Aspilicueta, because I don't, like everybody's talking about, oh, Aspilicueta needs to be worried about James taking his spot. And I'm thinking, well, if we go with the back three, Dave does really well as one of the covering center backs. So why can't we do that and let James be a bit more of an attacking player? Because that's his where he excels. Because James, defensively he does well. Today he did very well, but for the most part, like I don't necessarily think James has a great deal of defensive, at least in comparison to Espilicueta. If I want a defensive right back, I'm going to Espilicueta because he defends very well. James, he has moments where he does, but then sometimes he makes some dumb decisions defensively. But attacking wise, James is the better choice, which is why I think he's a better wing back right now than he is a fullback. I don't think that's gonna be forever. I think he over Alonso he has a bit more pace and he also works back a lot better than Alonso does. So I think he has the ability to be a great fullback, but he's not there yet. He's still young. He's still learning. But right now, I think wingback it lets him get forward. It lets him show how good he is to serve balls, to have shots. But it also gives him a little bit more defensive cover if he doesn't work back, because he does. But there's that cover there in case he doesn't. So that's why I really do think that right now that is the best position for him while he's growing and while he's learning. Um, and then you got Kovacic and Jorginho in the middle. Conte's still out injured, so of course you got to deal with that. And I think having both of them sort of holding there, but also getting it kind of up and down, I think that really works out well for both of them. Jorginho, yes, his game typically is to sit deep and move the ball, but I think recently he's not been doing that well. Defensively, he's being caught out, just like under Sarri and at the beginning of the season. But if you put him in a two midfield where he gets to get up and help, but also he can drop back and kind of distribute, I think that really does give him a lot more freedom. And then, of course, Kovacic, I think, is just a great box-to-box midfielder. He gets up in the attack, he's quick on the ball, he's clever, but also he works hard to win the ball back. So, and then, Mount, Willian, and Giroud, I think, is a good front three. Give Pulisic a chance to take a break. I would have liked Willian to have a little bit more of a break, but I also understand the hesitation to pull him off the field. Totally get that. But yeah, Giroud's in good form. Some people might say, yeah, but give Abraham a chance to play today so that way Giroud's fully fit for Liverpool. But honestly, I think this is a match that you do want to win. Even though we do want to be in the Champions League, this match is also very important because Man U's beaten us 3 times this season. So this is our chance to get some revenge and also put ourselves in the final, which is a big deal. So I think definitely putting Giroud out there helps. And honestly, Giroud, he is a bit older, so he doesn't always go 100% because he does get tired a bit quicker, but he's still able to go. He's still able to play quite a bit. So I don't mind seeing him start personally. And then of course Willie in goal. I think it's good to keep faith in your FA Cup keeper. He plays well. I think he honestly there are times I think he's a better goalkeeper than Kepa in certain situations. But yeah, he I think he's done well for the club. I think out of all of the second string keepers that's come through our club, I think he's our best option in quite a while. Just because you look at some of the other second string options, and you know, honestly, Hilario is the only one I can think of, and that's just because my dad mentioned him when I was watching the game with him. I can't think of any other second string keepers that have come through because they've all just been very. Uh, anytime you see him on the field, you're just kind of like, really? Like, I get you want to give your second string keeper a chance to play in the cup competitions, but really? So I like the fact that Willie, though, he is a good keeper, he does well, and so they give him a chance to play. I like that. As far as individuals are concerned, though, I think Willie didn't have a whole lot to do. I am a little disappointed in the PK just because I don't know. I just hate whenever keepers guess. It's just a personal thing for me. But aside from that, he did well. Back three, I thought all played pretty well. They all had a few decisions that went wrong. It wasn't a whole lot. Mostly they were very solid. They defended well. They moved the ball around well. Kept the attacking trio of Man U moving. So that way it wasn't like you get trapped in a corner. They did work well to keep the ball moving and not get trapped to where your only option is either go back or to give it away. But no, there were a few moments though that just again those lapses in concentration. There was a couple passes from Dave that weren't the best. The one that was nearly a penalty because Zuma decided not to head it back to Willie and decided to try to clear it, and then Martial flicked his leg in, which I don't think that was a foul anyway. I think just because Martial throws himself in front of Zuma's clearance doesn't make it a foul. Of course, I feel the same way whenever like a defender will throw his leg in front of the ball as somebody's about to poke it and then fall over. It always gets called, but I'd never really think that's a foul because that's just you put your leg out there to get kicked. It's gonna get kicked. That doesn't make it a foul. But no, it was a dumb decision though to let the ball bounce a second time instead of just Willie's right there, head it back to him. No reason to let it bounce again and then try to clear it. So just a couple decisions like that. I'm thinking, we've got to clean those up if we want to be world class level, competing with the likes of Barcelona, Real, PSG, Bayern Munich. If we want to go into the Bayern Munich game with any semblance of just at least keeping our pride, we can't be doing that because then our pride's going to get shot again. So just a few moments like that, but all three of them I thought they played pretty well. They played very on a scale of 1 to 10. I don't normally rate out of 10, but just to kind of give you an idea, I would give them all 7. They didn't do anything super fantastic, but they were also good today. They played well. The wingbacks I thought both played very well. I thought James had one of his best games since he's been here. And Alonso, again showed why left wing back is the role for him and why he's one of the best players in the league when he's playing out there. Because they just both are able to get on the ball and cause issues for the defense. The only thing I will say, and it didn't hurt us as much today, because I think with Man U playing with a back three, it did force the wing backs to have to defend a little bit more centrally. But again, they're cutting in instead of getting wide. And I think when it's a back four, that's very easy to defend against. If it's a back three, like I said, now the wing backs are having to come in, which then opens up space for somebody to make the overlapping run. But when it's a back four, you've got your fullbacks that can stay out there or that can stay in and cover them, and then you've also got your wings that can cover that overlapping run. So it doesn't really cause any confusion or movement in the defense whenever your wingbacks cut in. And I just feel like there's too many times, not just on the attack, but even when we're just trying to get out of our own defense. I'm thinking, hey, let's switch it out. But then I look, and the ball's on the other side of the field, and here's the middle circle, and here's James. I'm thinking, get out. Give them that option because, that's what we need most of the time. And I don't understand why we don't do that. That's why you have wingbacks, is to provide that width. But half the time they aren't doing it. So, like I said, it didn't cause any problems today, but that has been one of our issues in some of these games where cross comes in, there's nobody out there, or we're struggling to find an outlet. Well, it's because your wing back or your fullback is all the way centrally and there's nobody further out than him. So it's very easy to clump it all in and defend that. So just that's about the only complaint I have with them. But aside from that, they did play very well. Kovacic showed why he needs to be playing if he's fit. Had a great game. Jorginho more solid today. Like I said, I like this role better for him than that deeper defensive midfield role because I don't think he defends well and distributing like he does okay with it, but he's not been as good as he was right before the break happened. So I feel like you take him out of that defensive midfield role and let him have a bit more freedom to roam in the midfield. I think he looks better in that type of role. And also, I think he does read the game well. So if he's not having to sit back and like put a challenge in and instead is able to kind of roam and see the pass and cut off the pass, I think he's better at that. So I do think giving him this more central midfield instead of a defensive midfield and kind of keeping him back here, I think it opens up his game a little bit more. Which is why I wouldn't mind seeing Conte sitting deep with Jorginho and then Kovacic or Mount being the two that are sort of free-floating in the midfield. And then the front three, I thought all played well. Mount, got himself a goal, good for him. De Gea should have done better. And Giroud also got himself a goal. So I thought all three of them, though, they worked hard, they played well. Giroud just cannot stop playing well, in my opinion. There's just something about the way he plays that not only looks good for him, but it just opens up space for everyone around him. And when he and Maguire were just going one-on-one, he was creating issues for Maguire. And it's something he can do. It's the type of player he is. He's big and strong, and he's willing to put in a challenge, so the defender never has a moment to sort of relax. Anytime the ball comes up, they have to be 100% focused, or else things could go wrong very, very quickly. So I love having Giroud out there because he brings the whole team up. It's not just him. It's everybody around him looks better with him out there on the field. But Willian, again, just doing what Willian does, constantly working hard. He's getting out on the wings. He's putting in crosses. Sometimes not the best, but he's always there. He's always making things happen. It's very rare that you see we're counterattacking and Willian's not up there with the counterattack. Most of the time, he gets up. He wants to get up. He wants to be a part of it. Mount too, honestly. I think it's something that both of them really, really work hard to bring that counterattacking flair. So that way, because we love to keep possession, but if we do let the other team have a little bit of possession and then they give it away, it's very dangerous for them because we do have these players that want to counterattack fast. So yeah, I really thought all three of them, though, played well. As far as the subs that came on, I don't mind the subs. I kind of wish Frank had gotten them on a little bit sooner, more around 70 instead of like 77th minute, because I want to see them get more of a chance. Because right now, what's going on is Hudson-Odoi is not going to replace Pulisic, Willian, or Mount if he decides to go with him up there. He's not going to replace any of those three. Loftus-Cheek is not going to replace Jorginho or Kovacic if you have a two midfield, and also when Conte comes back, and I think he also rates Loftus-Cheek over Barkley. Well, no, he rates Barkley over Loftus-Cheek, so I don't think either of them are going to be getting a whole lot of time. Problem is that typically they don't get on until 15 or less minutes left, and in my opinion, that doesn't really give you a good gauge of where they are. Now, with that, I will say, if you're only getting less than 15 minutes, then it is on you to also show why you deserve more time than just the 15. From a coaching standpoint, I think you give more time to show what they can do, but also if you're giving them less than 15 and they're not showing you that they deserve more than 15, I can kind of understand why he's given them that little amount of time. But the problem with Hudson-Odoi and Loftus-Cheek is that they both are returning from injury since the break. They both are young players that a lot of people have given a lot of hope to. Like these are going to be our future stars here coming through the academy. But the problem is that neither of them are showing it. And again, I don't know if it's because they're not getting enough time to, if they're not like getting minutes to kind of build the confidence. But my biggest problem is both of them are players that the reason I like having James out there, the reason I like having Mount out there, and sometimes even Tammy, not always, but sometimes Tammy, they work hard. They bust it. Even if there are gaps in their game, there are things they can work on to get better at, they work hard. It's one of the reasons Mount instantly stepped into the first team because he works hard. Hudson-Odoi and Loftus-Cheek really don't. I mean, just watching Hudson-Odoi today, he came out there. I'm thinking, all right, you got a little bit of time. Show us why you deserve to be out there. He's walking. The ball comes to him. He's on his heels, and then he has to try to push to get going, and he's not ready for it. And somebody else beats it to him. There was one ball pops up, and he's here. The ball's here. It's not this close, but it's like on the TV. It's this close. It's probably like 3, maybe 4 or 5 feet away from him. And Jorginho is about 10 feet away from him. And Matic is closer than Jorginho. Well, Jorginho is reacting to it. He beats Matic and Hudson-Odoi to the ball and nearly gets fouled. And then Hudson-Odoi benefits from that little flick on. And what does he do? Dribbles out of bounds. Somebody else, I think it was Tammy, cuts off a pass, lays it out to him. What does he do? Shoots it into the side netting. Not even the side netting. He shoots it behind the goal. That's the thing. He's benefiting from other players' hard work, but then he doesn't do anything with it. And he's watching. He's waiting for the game to come to him. That's not what a player does. If you want to be a good professional player, if you want to be world class, if you want to play at a club like Chelsea, you got to work for it. You got to show that I'm not going to wait for the game to come to me. I'm going to make something happen. Which honestly, sometimes there are other Chelsea players that do that. But if you're a young player who has been out of the team for a while and needs to get back into it and wants to show why, you don't wait for the game to come to you. And honestly, the penalty just sort of shows where his mindset is. Because he's there, but then he doesn't really do anything, but then the ball is near him again, and he's just kind of like, oh, I'll try to poke it, and then kicks Martial and gives Martial a chance to go down. I mean, that's lazy. That's just, I'm here. Okay, I'm done. Oh, no, wait, I have a chance. Nope, I'm done. It's just like, I don't understand the mindset, you know? I don't understand what goes through his head to make him think, all right, the ball's near me. Okay, I'm going to work. All right, ball's not near me. I'm done working. It's not a good mindset to have. And not only that, but it's like there are times that I feel like his decision-making, too, is very rash. There was another instance where Maguire has the ball and Hudson-Odoi is putting a challenge in on him. And then Maguire and Matic kind of run into each other, and I see, like, Hudson-Odoi is basically kind of like clipping at his heels a little bit. And thankfully, Maguire doesn't go down, but he had a chance to. Hudson-Odoi gave him the chance to. Well, that all happens, and then Jorginho steps in, and he's putting pressure on Maguire, but he's not kicking at him. He's just putting him under pressure. He's making Maguire have to, basically just keep the ball away from him, clears it right to Alonso. I'm thinking, that's the difference right there. You've got a player who basically, he sees the ball, he sees that the defender has it, and he's just going to kick at it and hope for the best. And then nothing really comes of it, and honestly, nearly gave away a foul. Whereas Jorginho, who's a bit more experienced, goes in, puts pressure on him to make him clear it to one of our players, and now we're counterattacking on him. That's the type of stuff that I see from Hudson-Odoi. He makes those decisions to just kind of stick a foot out and hope for the best. And that's not good enough. From Loftus-Cheek, I mean, he didn't get as much time as Hudson-Odoi, so he didn't make as many of those mistakes, but there's still a lot of moments where I'm thinking, do something. Make something happen. Don't wait for it to come to you. So both of them, I think, are players that they need to realize. I know because Hudson-Odoi just signed a long contract, so I'm sure, I don't know if he's feeling comfortable or not, but I'm sure in his mind he's thinking, they're not going to get rid of me. But honestly, you've got Werner coming in, you've got Ziyech coming in, possibly Havertz as well. I mean, you've got these players coming in that can play in your spot, and you've already got to be behind Pulisic and Willian, and then also maybe Mount. You got to fight for your spot. You got to show why you need to be out there, and he's not. And Loftus-Cheek really isn't either. If Conte and Gilmore were still fit, I don't know if he makes the bench in this game, if I'm being perfectly honest. So, Yeah, both of them I want to see more from. The reason I didn't include Tammy in that, because he's a player I've said the same thing about recently. I thought today he looked like a player who's under pressure. He was playing like a player who's under pressure. My dad even said it's like, it appears that Tammy got the memo that his job is is under fire. Because Giroud's playing well, he's not. He's not been putting a whole lot of good performances in, and not even good performances, but he's not really been playing. What's the word I'm looking for? Like he's not. It's like he's not even trying half the time. If that makes sense. So it's almost like somebody finally got in his ear and said, "Hey, show us why you deserve a new contract." He went out there today with a fire, which is why it showed so obviously that Hudson-Odoi and Loftus-Cheek didn't feel that, because Abraham was busting it when he came on. And like that's what you should do. If you have a little bit of time, work it. Make it happen. Do something that shows I want to be here. I want to get more time than just this 13 minutes. I'll show you why, coach. But they didn't. Well, meanwhile, Tammy's out there. He's putting pressure on the defenders. He's sprinting across the field. I mean, why not? You don't have 90 minutes to play, so go ahead and put some few sprints in. Sprint at the defenders a few times. Put him under pressure. Put the keeper under pressure. He's having an awful game. Make him feel like he could make another mistake by sprinting at him. Like, that's why I really respected Abraham in this game more than I did Hudson-Odoi or Loftus-Cheek. I really felt like he wanted to show why I deserve a new contract. I deserve to try to get more time. Meanwhile, Hudson-Odoi and Loftus-Cheek were just kind of there. And honestly, even Pedro came on, and, I love Pedro. I hate the fact that we're just kind of goodbye, Pedro. Because I think both him and Willian have been fantastic servants to the club. They both have their strengths. Although it is kind of one of those things I've talked about where if Willian's having a great year, then Pedro's not. But if Pedro's having a great year, then Willian's not. So I don't know what this is going to mean now that Pedro's leaving. But honestly, came out there and just worked hard. That's all he did. Put in some good challenges. He was there. And this is a guy that's leaving. He's confirmed leaving. He's finishing out this year and then he's going to Roma. And he came on with more fire and fight than Hudson-Odoi or Loftus-Cheek. So I really hope that, especially because Hudson-Odoi gave away the penalty, because for both of them, it's not like they did anything extremely obviously bad. The average fan that doesn't understand the sport very well, they're going to watch and say, hey, yeah, they were just there. They weren't good, they weren't bad. In my opinion, if you really watch what they're doing, it's not good. It's bad. It's beyond just not good. It's bad. It needs to be improved upon. It's something that needs to happen soon, or else they're going to become just another overrated English player. And I don't want that for our players, So I really hope that this game, with Hudson-Odoi giving away the penalty, obviously Loftus-Cheek didn't do much good or bad, but with Hudson-Odoi giving away the penalty and some of the mistakes he made on the ball, I'm kind of hoping that Lampard kind of goes to him and says, hey, look, I'm giving you a chance to prove yourself, and you're not. You're not showing me why I should give you more time than I did. So, again, I'm not, behind closed doors, so I don't know if that's what's going on or not, but personally, that's what I think should be happening. I think there should be an inquest to say, hey, why are you not going out and giving 110% since you're only going out there for a few minutes? Why are you not constantly just running down players? Why are you not making things happen? It needs to be more. So, all in all, though, very good game. Just final little side comment. Mike Dean, you can let that beard grow out all you want, but we still recognize you for the terrible referee you are. So, yeah. I did love, and it's funny because this is probably one of my most liked and retweeted tweets, because one of the Twitter accounts I follow posted a thing. It's Bruno Fernandes gets the ball, Chelsea players, and it shows Chelsea, a bunch of guys beating up on this one guy. I was first of all, we never touched him. He hit the ground so many times. He got 4 or 5 fouls called for him. We never touched him. So I put a little tweet. I'm Bruno Fernandes gets the ball. Bruno Fernandes and little baby tripping over himself. Because honestly, Mike Dean, I don't know what he was seeing in that first half, but that first half was bad. That first half was so one-sided. It's any any Chelsea player gets near a Man U player and they hit the ground, it's a foul. And half of them were just being stronger than the player. Like Fred, anytime somebody put a shoulder on him. And for Fernandez, it's like anytime somebody touched him, he honestly, he is getting that reputation now, because I've seen some people calling him out for it, especially after the one against Aston Villa where he spun into the player and fell over. But he's really getting a reputation now for being that very talented player, which honestly, he's okay. I don't think he's like, I think of like, when I think talented player that dives a lot, like I'm thinking Ronaldo, or Neymar. He's not quite at the same talent level, but he is. I mean, he's good. I'll give him that. But no, he's starting to get that kind of every single time he hits the ground, it's rolling around, holding his ankle or holding his leg. I love the one where it's really quick to hit him like on the inner thigh, and he's holding like he got kicked in the gonads. I'm like, okay, right. And that's what's funny to me is like you do realize that we can rewatch the cameras and say, wait a minute, you didn't get kicked where you're holding. Huh, maybe you're a diver. I don't know. Just funny to me. Anyways, all that being said though, I am more excited now. Again, I'm still kind of hesitant going into the Liverpool game because one, they've been so bad. I'm thinking they've got to come back eventually. And honestly, how many times have we said, oh yeah, this team that we're facing next, bad run of form, we'll be fine. And then all of a sudden they pick up 3 points and they have it in the past 20 games or something like that. So yeah, I'm still nervous going into that one. We do typically perform well against the top teams, so there is that sort of boost going into it. But with Leicester losing today to Tottenham, I mean, we do have that bump. It's like if we win this one, if we win against Liverpool, we definitely have Champions League football next year. So let's go ahead and get our job done. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but I'm still a little scared. We'll see. Anyways, with that being said, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.